Regions Fund. In my electorate of Mayo, 2 applications were successful. $202,000 is going towards a sculpture trail on Kangaroo Island, and $255,000 has been allocated to the construction of a men's shed at Victor Harbour. I've previously spoken in this House about the Victor Harbour men's shed, and I reiterate my support for men's sheds right across Australia. They are integral community spaces, and they're places where there's a great deal of support, mateship and indeed love for each other. And I believe they save lives. When I visited Victor Harbour Men's Shed last year, I was delighted to see men, young and old, working side by side, sharing their skills together. Although I must say it was quite a tight squeeze in the men's shed. So thanks to the grant funding they've received, the Victor Harbour Men's Shed will be able to relocate to larger premises. And they were previously operating out of the Encounter Centre, a great resource for our community, but they only had just 1 day a week. And so this will allow them to be open every day and help foster stronger relationships throughout the community. An organisation such as this is exactly the reason why the Building Better Regions Fund is so valuable to regional communities. Similarly, the construction of the Kangaroo Island Sculpture Trail will be a great draw card, another great draw card to Kangaroo Island, and I think it will be a great boost to our economy there. The trail will show the natural vegetation of the island, the local wildlife, and include large sculptured works created from natural materials, and I greatly look forward to its completion and disembarking at Penneshaw and having a good look around myself. The Building Better Regions Fund is a genuinely good initiative. Investment in our region is so important to enable communities to grow and thrive, and I strongly support the intention of the program. This is why I'm so frustrated at the rules being regulated and regulating the eligibility of access to the fund based on mapping. I've spoken on this issue previously, but it's inconceivable to me that a township such as Woodside in my electorate, with a population of just 2,000, cannot access the fund while the Gold Coast, the 6th biggest city in Australia, can. Mount Barker, the major economic centre of the Adelaide Hills, cannot access the fund. This is a town that is projected to have a population of 44,000 within the town in the next 20 years. The district population will grow to 56,000 in the same period, yet we lack so many of the essential services that a town with such a population demands because we've been such a small regional community. For example, our swimming pool is not up to competition standard. It's still in yards and feet. And it leaks into the surrounding ground soil. The recent announced sports hub will allow more football and soccer to take part in competitions, and that's desperate for our community. But what we need is Mount Barker and the surrounding areas to again be part of the Building Better Regions Fund. And I will say, meanwhile, the Gold Coast is gearing up to host the Commonwealth Games next year. It has 2 professional sports teams and the facilities that come with that. It is a large economic centre that receives millions of dollars each year from tourists visiting the city. I don't think you would find many who are willing to say the Gold Coast is lacking in essential services and community infrastructure. Indeed, I think you'll find very few people in Australia who would consider the Gold Coast a region. The Minister spoke to me about my concerns, and she said at the end of round 1, she was expecting in July this year, that she would have a review of the boundaries. As yet, I have heard nothing from the Minister. South Australia is at an impasse, with our manufacturing industry closing down and unemployment rising. We must look to the next opportunity, and I believe that next opportunity for South Australia is in food production and agriculture. It always has been, we just never realised it. In the Adelaide Hills, these industries are crying out for major infrastructure projects to allow them to best display their talents to the world. And this is why it is so important that these areas, true regional areas that rely on primary production for their prosperity, are allocated into the Building Better Regions Fund. And so while I think it's tremendous that we congratulate those who were successful in round 1, I would urge the Minister to as quickly as possible, review how they have drawn the boundaries for the Building Better Regions Fund, because it seems ridiculous that small towns with no public transport, small towns where you're lucky if you have 1 or 2 stores and 1,000 people, the banks have closed, everything's gone from us. For us not to be included, and for places such as the Gold Coast to be included, I think makes a mockery of the term region. Thank you.